The technological influence on creative arts. In the modern world of creative arts, many of the creations within the areas of entertainment, in films and games, owe their inspirations and success towards how technology has grown over the past few decades. These advancements very much came from one original source, the one invention which was responsible for creating the many visual effects within the modern day productions and contributing to how we formulate plots and stories of the imaginary. The humble computer. Going back to the late 1930s and early 40s, this was a time when computers were first built for more serious purposes. In World War II, most famously, the code-breaking machine Colossus was designed with the intent of decoding encrypted German messages, orders which proved vital in eventually ending the war. Following afterwards into the 1950s, much of the technology which once spearheaded the war effort was now repurposed for more friendly uses, like statistical analysis and all manner of data crunching calculations. The only thing was, such devices could only operate within specifically built facilities due to their cumbersome bulk and size, which therefore didn't really merit a practical tool towards performing creative tasks.
Well, as you might imagine, this takes a few hours to get anything through the computer at all.
So that raises more problems.
That raises a lot of problems, and people are very frustrated with this type of interaction.
Thus, this problem would start the technological transition of devices from the big to the small, with greater efficiency and eventually greater performance. Some of the developments which came from that period included the early conception of the keyboard and mouse, which eventually would help in writing the script I'm currently reading. The 60s and 70s then saw the emergence of now smaller and far more powerful computers. A computer giant emerged in 1975, becoming the most prominent household name of all time. Yes, you guessed it, it was Microsoft. Microsoft would go off on its many world-changing endeavors, such as through the supporting of uprising game corporations such as Nintendo and Sony. Apple rose in 1984, providing the next big burst of computers aimed more so for the creative side of the digital medium. In 1986, the now largest animation group in the world, Pixar, rose with the technological assistance from Apple's former CEO, Steve Jobs, in early productions such as Tin Toy in 1988. And to top it all off, in 1990, the World Wide Web came into being, with thanks to CERN, the high-energy laboratory in Geneva, when initially the system was only designed to share information about the experiments it performed. Now repurposed for greater shares of information around the world, it would allow for a coordinated movement into the future of the arts. Today, with the latest generation of technology for design and communication, even the smallest groups of people, or even just one person alone, can create works in film and games that easily rival those created a few years back. For film, software such as Adobe Flash has enabled people to create animations of a professional quality, so much so that entire online communities have been created dedicated to, quite literally, hundreds of animations. For games, again, the same sort of thing occurred, where online communities were created to house hundreds of games. But moving along towards the higher end of the film and game spectrum, a digital film medium known as Machinima uses a game and its settings and characters to tell a story like conventional animations or like live-action films. The only difference being is that it's all filmed inside a game that someone else has produced without the specific intention. And yet again, there are plenty of examples of such machinimas existing, such as this one.
We'll fight like demons. Harden your hearts and think of the carnage to come. Forgotten now, but remembered forever.
But in my personal opinion, if there is a production which stands out for being the most in-depth in terms of quality, but was achieved by a non-mainstream group of people, credit would have to go to the stick figure animation known as the Castle series. Still to this day, it is renowned as the most narrative stick figure animation of all time, thus far anyway. Taking place in a desolate alternate reality, one where it is inhabited only by a few castles and a mysterious but deadly set of inhabitants, an expedition is sent in from Earth to attempt the recovery of an artifact, long forgotten, but one that holds a power that existed from a previous civilization. The grayscale setting, the simplicity of the main characters in their design, and the clever interweaving of individual character plots in this hostile setting makes this story a very suspenseful experience. Animated and written by Oscar Johansson, and music composed by Alexander Winter and other various artists, the Castle series is set to continue with the release of Castle 4. The impact that this had when I first saw the series was basically what got me into animating and filmmaking in the first place. The subtlety involved in the majority of the scenes, in terms of the animation, really gave a more realistic sensibility to bring the characters alive, rather than just relying on guns and a chase to capture the audience's attention. The series seemed to accomplish in giving that real gritty sense of reality in a mysterious world, and that's what I think succeeded most for such a small production. In the future, from the present world of advanced software and communications, who knows what will come next? In the future, perhaps tools which were once used by large-scale productions will become passed down to the rest of the population, like us. In any case, the sky is the limit.